There is no other place like home. And thank you for having me once again in the morning program.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about the plight of Nigerians and also what we will call the mentality of the fact that why we have these disturbing figures or facts or details about what Nigerians are going through abroad, we still have Nigerians still on that rat race to leave the country. Do we say that there is a psychological problem with Nigerians where they are ready to leave the royalty, the lions that they are in their land, to be ants and peasants, or basically at the whims and caprice of other countries, no matter what? I don't know. Is this something right? Is there a problem besides the normal economy and the fact that the country is not okay? But psychologically, doesn't this show that?
Yeah, we have a head correct.
Yes.
Okay, bro.
Well, here is the thing.
I'm worried.
Generally, Nigerians are not slaves overseas. They are not suffering overseas. They are not struggling overseas. Actually, Nigerians are one of the best educated in the United States of all the groups of immigrants, including African Americans over there.
Okay.
If you go to Mexico, we still have Nigerians. They are one of the best educated as well. You go to Costa Rica, you go to Jamaica, and in the United Kingdom as well, we are one of the best educated. The challenge generally, where you find people leaving the country, is that of a lack of infrastructure. I'll give you an example. If you go to the accident and emergency department of any hospital here in Akwa Ibom State, or generally, because Akwa Ibom is emblematic of Nigeria, in the country, you would expect to find an X-ray, a sonogram, an MRI, okay, and you'll expect to find doctors that are specifically trained for accidents and emergency cases, and nurses that are specifically trained for that. They earn a little bit more than the general doctor that attends to people at an easier pace. Because in accidents and emergency, every second counts. But I can tell you this, that with my experience, I've been to at least 6 teaching hospitals within the Federation of Nigeria. And painfully, there wasn't one with an X-ray machine, not one. Talk less of a sonogram.
Like there wasn't, or it wasn't functional.
There wasn't one.
One.
It just was not there. Anybody that doubts me can try to controvert my statement by going to an accident and emergency department. Go to the accident and emergency department,
Precisely.
not the hospital, not the hospital X-ray. There has to be an X-ray within the accident and emergency department. So anybody that is brought to the accident and emergency A&E is immediately x-rayed, and there is a sonogram, especially an accident victim. There is a sonogram, so you understand what is going on, the extent of the injuries. A person could appear to be physically okay, but could have internal bleeding. We don't have that. Now think of yourself as a medical doctor, and then you have the opportunity to practice in that kind of environment. You are losing lives. You are losing human beings because you are not equipped. And now you have the opportunity to go outside of the country to an environment that has all of this available. And by the time you are called, you have reports as to what is happening with that specific individual. The internal bleeding, the location of the internal bleeding, the broken bones, whatever you need is already done within 5 minutes, and the report is right there for you. Now you are able to gather a team of doctors that will assist you to save the life. It will be very difficult for such a physician to remain in Nigeria in such a difficult environment. They will rather go overseas so they can actually do what is called the practice of medicine, because it is a practice. Nobody really is an expert. It is a practice. The more you practice, the more you get to understand it. Now, let's even look at the legal part of it, the judicial part of it. You have cases within the Federation of Nigeria that linger for 5, 6, 7 years. But with my own experience, when you have a case in the United States, there's a trial by date. It means within 9 months, it must be tried. If that case is not tried, the judge has to make a formal report to the chief judge of that circuit and explain why that trial date was passed. why it was missed rather. So cases are expeditiously tried in the United States, and remember, justice delayed is justice denied. So if you want to practice law in Nigeria and then you are given that opportunity to practice law in the United States in a rapidly changing environment where you actually see the results of your cases, you are going to choose the United States because the infrastructure is different. Now, let me even talk about traffic engineering. When I first heard that there is somebody who actually graduated with a traffic engineering degree, I laughed until I went to the United States and I saw that traffic engineering is critical. It's so important because it drives the behavior of people on the road. It actually drives the behavior of people on the road. If you don't have appropriate traffic devices are actually the road, the traffic lights. That's the smallest part of it. But the markings on the road determine who is turning right, who is turning left, and who is supposed to be in the median, who is continuing. Those are devices that actually assist in saving lives because remember, when you're driving a car, you're not walking on your leg, you're actually moving quite fast. But when you come to Nigeria and you're a traffic engineer, you just don't see traffic devices on the road. People might think it's a traffic light. No, these are markings on the road that you are supposed to obey as a driver. I'll give you this example. Wherever you have traffic devices well laid out in Nigeria, you see the behavior of drivers change. They stay in their lane.
Is there any in the first place?
There is.
Some
There is. I'll give you an area. One, we start with Abuja. There are traffic devices in Abuja. That's number one. Lagos is really improving in terms of traffic devices. But if you go to 4 lanes, you'll see the traffic devices there that play a major role. The median line is still visible. But if you go to 2 lanes, you don't see the median line. So people drive, it's just not there. You're supposed to have a median line so that people stay in the left lane and people stay in the right lane. That's the traffic device right there. If you go to some place like Waniba and Brook Street, the traffic devices are improper. So people don't know if to turn right, if to turn left, and there are a lot of accidents right there. So these are the type of environment and infrastructure that are in place in foreign places. But we are growing, we are developing, we are expanding in terms of our knowledge and in terms of our implementation. So it might appear as if everybody wants to leave Nigeria, but generally, a lot of people want to leave because of the improper nature of governance and the lack of opportunities. They are just naturally because you are looking at the United States that has been in existence for more than 250 years. We've only been in existence for 62 years or thereabout. There are going to be more opportunities in the Western Hemisphere than in this part of the world. But we are growing. A lot of people, when you're thinking about the immigrants that have left Nigeria, some might say they are suffering. Not generally true, because we have people at the pinnacle of professional exercises and practice.
Who are allowed to thrive maximally?
Fantastically. Some of the best medical doctors in the United Kingdom naturally are Nigerians. I'll give you an example. 2 of the medical doctors, one is in the Veteran Administration, she's in the United States, very highly placed, a Nigerian. I was shocked when I met with her on a case that she provided expert testimony on. One of the biggest psychology clinics in the state of Michigan is led by a Nigerian, and Grady Hospital in the biggest trauma center in southeastern United States, in Georgia, was led by a Nigerian who graduated from the University of Jos Medical School. It was just fantastic. You get to see a Nigerian is a judge in the state of California. A Nigerian is a judge in the state of New Jersey. We have Nigerians who are doing very, very well. But generally, it takes one person to actually give a whole bunch a bad name. But also, generally, it takes just a few who are not equipped to operate in such an advanced society to enter into that society and actually be at the bottom rung of the society.